How did I get here?
Where you're at today. Maybe recovery resources, life recovery, whatever.
To start with my addiction.
Okay. Wherever you want to.
My name's Dustin. Oh, I'm not gonna look at you.
Yeah, no, it's hard to. You got a camera. Yeah, they just want to do it.
Dustin Lilac, and I mean, I really didn't start with addiction. Like growing up, I was the kid that, like, if I watched you smoke pot or watched you drink or anything like that, I was extremely judgmental and didn't want to have anything to do with you, and would probably even tell on you. I mean, like, you're smoking pot, you know, all this stuff. And for years, like, people drank, smoked pot, I didn't want to have anything to do with them. Smoked, like, drug, pills, whatever. That was there, not me. And I got to, like...
Where'd that come from? You got family that's...
I mean, I think the only thing really I can explain it to is, you know, I had a stepdad that was a pretty bad alcoholic, and I mean, that's the only thing I can relate it to is just watching some of his, you know, behavior and some of the things he did when I was a kid, like abuse and like going, you know, drunk enough to act crazy. And
that's why I don't want to be like
I mean, that's the only thing I can relate it to is I don't want to do that stuff. And like I was raised at that stuff, stay away from that stuff. And as I got older, you know, 16, 17, 18, you know, you're in I was in high school, so everybody started drinking. Everybody's drinking on the weekends. And I said, after so many, it was like, well, I'd like to try some of that, you know. Smoked pot here and there and drank a little bit, but I didn't like consider myself alcoholic or I was on bad. It was just, that's what we did on the weekends, every few weekends. And I got this, I was like 21, and I started, I was like 21, and I was working, and I saw these guys snort some pain pills. And I watched them do it for a couple days, and I watched how they worked, like running around like crazy, working like hell. And I was like, man, I wonder what that feels like. Just curiosity. I wonder what that feels like to snort that pill. So a couple days in, I was like, hey, let me try that. And started doing it every day. Liked how I felt. Liked what was going on. Didn't see anything wrong with it. Like, I'm just snorting a couple pills a week, like going and getting a pill, making it last 2 or 3 days, you know, and thinking I'm okay because there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not addicted. I'm just on pills. And
pain pills? Like
yeah, Lortabs, Percocets, Roxy's, like just pain pills. Then started messing with Xanax too, just here and there. And it's okay because I'm just on pills. At least I'm not on meth is what I would tell myself. I'm not on meth, I'm not shooting up, I'm not doing any of these things. So I would like justify it.
And you're also holding a job. And
yeah, functioning, yeah. You know, having my kids and, you know, holding a job down, then start getting in trouble at work. And then I start, you know, for being too high at work, lying about it, but bringing the doctor's excuse in, or the prescription. Well, I mean, I got this, it's okay, I could take it. And I mean, they can't do anything to you. Like, you fail for Lortabs or Xanax and you got a prescription for it, like, they can't do shit. And that's what happened. And then, you know, get a DUI and lose my job, and still really didn't think I had a problem. It was just I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know, took just a little too much, or that cop was out to get me. And it was like, it just kind of continued that way. Pain pills, like Xanax. I didn't like, you know, to me the natural progression, like in my head for so long was, you know, alcohol, pot, pills, and then like meth, heroin, you know,
it's
up the chain.
Yeah. Chemicals.
Yeah. And as long as I was at the bottom of that, you know, ladder, I'm okay, because I'm better than all these other drug addicts, because I'm just on pills and the doctor gives it to me. I don't have to take I'm not on meth, I'm not on heroin. I just take pain pills and nerve pills. And, you know, my wife at the time, she wasn't an addict, but she grew up with it all around her. So, and we were together 2 years before I started taking pills. So she got to see like 1.5 years, maybe 2 years of what she thought she was getting into with Dustin, and then ended up the same stuff she grew up around, the same stuff she always had, and that causes a lot of problems. And things just, life just became miserable, me fighting with her all the time, us breaking up all the time, me not seeing the kids, me going to jail, me getting mad at her because she's not doing things. I mean, just I can't hold a job down.
How many kids you have?
Right now, I have 4 kids, 3 girls, 1 boy, and my oldest one is 19 and she has 4 kids. So she made me a papaw when I was 34.
Congrats.
Yeah.
You don't have that much gray. You got that one streak of gray.
Yeah, just a little bit of gray, but it's a style.
Yeah. So, what did you talked about some of the consequences you were getting, but what did that look like on you emotionally and mentally? This period of time, anyway.
Of course, at the time, I didn't really focus on what emotions I was feeling. But, looking back on it, I remember, like lonely, miserable, upset, the whole world's out to get me. Nobody wants me around, poor me, and then, of course, that leads to a lot of depression because, like, the low opinion of myself and then the low opinion of how the world views me made me feel the worst. And and even if I was like attempting to be in a relationship, how could if I had such a low opinion of myself, how could I hold anybody else? And then like my dad died when I was 5, so I didn't really have a dad growing up. I had a couple stepdads, but like they weren't nothing. But my dad died. And
was he in your life up till then?
Yeah.
So what was that like for you?
I don't remember. I was 5, so I don't remember. Growing up without a dad was just kind of
normal.
Yeah, it's normal. And I would always tell myself, man, when I get kids, it's going to be so cool because I'm going to be the dad and I'm going to be around. And then I had kids and I was getting high all the time. And looking back on it, that's probably worse. And I know that would make me feel upset at the time too, that I didn't die. I didn't, I would just leave and not want to be around them. Make reasons up to purposely go out of my way to not be around them. And that doesn't, that doesn't affect me. It does, but it affects them too. And it's just I have these kids running around, and not building a relationship with them. You get to the point where you don't, for a little bit, sometimes you just don't feel anything towards the kids, and they're your own kids. They're just kids.
You're aware of that as well.
Yeah. And it's, at the time, it wasn't my fault. It was, the mom's fault for not letting me come around, even though I would actively do things to not show up. And it just kind of continued that way. And it's hard to be around when I keep going to jail. I can't hold a job. Keep getting in trouble, keep violating probation, do 6-7 years on 11129 probation because I keep violating. And I got introduced to the Suboxone and Subutex, and to me, it was well, I can keep taking this and I don't have to take as much.
How long ago was that?
12 years ago, so 2011.
So you made a shift to just...
Yeah, I made a shift from pain pills and Xanax to Subutex and Xanaxes. I started, snorting them and whatnot, and then it went from snorting it. Saw this dude shooting them one day, and I said, same thing like it was when I was younger, starting on pain pills. Man, why you do that? What does that do to you? Man, it hits you faster, does all this, and it's well, I like to try some of that, and it blows my mind because when I was a kid, it would take 5-6 people to hold me down for a shot, and here I am willingly let me try that. But in my head, I'm just shooting Subutex. I'm not shooting meth. That would justify that. I'm not a meth head. I'm not a drug addict. This is how, I'm just taking pills. And then the doctors give them to me, every justification I could have. And I mean, it went like that for years. I mean, the same thing, like calling people and asking them for food money, knowing good and well that I don't want food. I want you to send me $20, $25 so I can go get high. And, you know, stealing my kids' stuff, stealing from anybody I know, all the same things, just to go get high. Like making the doctor day the most important day of the month. Like I don't care about birthdays, I don't care about holidays. Doctor day is what I'm going to plan my entire month around, so I can go get a prescription and come back and be high for a few days. And I mean, I did that for years, and it just kind of.
What's it like living that way?
It's like you hear this stuff about like loneliness and desperation, like or despair, whatever. Like it's horrible, because there was a lot of nights where, you know, doing all that, you burn every bridge you have, and there's a lot of days and nights where I'm upset and like I'm just lonely, going in my apartment by myself because me and my wife have separated. I get home and there's nobody there, and like, and you reach out to people, but they're so used to me manipulating them for money, wanting something, they don't answer. They don't, like, they'll read your message. And there was some nights I'd come out and just message people and be like, hey, I'm having a bad day. And I really was, like, coming from work, bad night, just don't want to, like, I'm upset. And you see that little thing light up where they read it, but nobody responds. And that's horrible, because to me that just like reassured the self-pity that I had of like, man, nobody cares about me, nobody loves me. And then they don't read it when I'm trying to reach out to you after, you know, and you're not answering me. That sucks. So like, I didn't get to the point of like wanting to kill myself. It wasn't never that bad, but I was okay if I went to bed and didn't wake up. Like I was cool with, if I lay down and don't wake up, I'm all right with it. But I didn't want to kill myself. And everybody'd be better off if I would just sit in here and not wake up. And man, that's an awful feeling to feel that low about life in general. You know, kids, just had a grandkid at the time. Like, you know, I don't care about life enough to, I'm okay if I just sit in this bed and die this morning. Like if I was to never wake up, the world would be a better place. I mean, to me, that's one of the worst feelings in the world.
And then I do that for years on end.
Yeah, and do it like every day. Wake up, man, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate doing this. And then like, man, I'm sick of this. And then a couple hours later, man, I got to find something to get high.
Yeah, you were successfully showing up to a doctor and going through treatment.
Yeah, exactly. And I did that for, 12 years.
What separates something like a lifestyle like that with somebody actually getting treatment at a place like that?
You want my opinion on that?
It's your story, man.
I don't agree with it. I don't believe in it. I have yet to see anybody successfully like go through that kind of treatment and be okay with it. Like wean themselves off within a few months and never take it again. Like that's just me, my opinion. I did it for 12 years, but there's so many people take advantage of it. Like I'm not saying that those people don't exist, that they can't take that stuff and do great with it and have a better life and all that. I mean, that's cool.
Why don't you think you were able to?
I went in with it. I went into the whole thing of going to get that medic, going to get Subutex, going to get this treatment. I went in with the mindset of I'm getting this to get high. And then that was like, I didn't go in
treating it like
no, I'm not. I never went in treating it like it was going to help me. I went in treating it like it was. This is just another legal way to get high, and I don't have to take as much because it's whatever, and I still feel better. I went into it that way, so maybe me going into it that way, I never really tried or gave it a chance. And then like when they would talk about weaning down or something, going there and act like I was dying and I couldn't do it, just so they wouldn't.
What was your last doctor visit? When was that?
September 2022.
Was the last time you went in?
Yeah, I went to jail right after that. I went you know, like I said, I did that for years, and I got in some trouble. Went to Sullivan County Jail in September.
Do you mind sharing why?
Yeah, I don't care to. Okay. Still pending. But no, I was
allegedly.
Yeah. I was working for Eastman inside Kingsport, or in Kingsport, and I was on Subutex and Xanaxes. And it was even them pressed Xanaxes that's going around bad that's got fentanyl in them. And I was buying them like crazy, taking them. Didn't know what was in it. Like, didn't know if it was fentanyl, Xanax, whatever was in it. I just liked how it made me feel. And I go to work, and allegedly I saw something. It's not allegedly, but I mean, I can't argue with it. I saw something that would look better with me, and I could make more money off of it. And I took it. Got fired 2 days later because they knew I took it, but I don't know what they were doing, but they knew I took it, and I decided I was so like high over them next few days that when I got fired the next day, I thought it was a great idea to post it on Facebook Marketplace, and it was kind of a specialty item that people don't need, but I thought they would. And I go to sell it, and then it was the cops. So I go to jail, charged me with theft, felony theft and all that. And so I'm sitting in jail. I have that. I have a violation from Carter County because I don't know, like I had a DUI before. Got my license back for the first time in 10 years the year before. Had it 34 days and got another DUI. And so that violated my Carter County probation for DUI. And then I had a hold in Washington County for a probation violation. So sitting in Sullivan County, not knowing when I'm getting out. And they pre-trial released me, grant me pre-trial release, and said, you're going to Carter County, you have a hold. Go to Carter County. They give me 3 months, 3.5 months. And then I have a hold in Washington County, and then I still have to go back to Sullivan County. So I don't know when I'm getting out, like in my head. And I mean, I don't care. My first night in Carter County, when I was in there a few months before, that judge told me if he saw me again, he was giving me 350 days flat. And then on top of that, I was thinking about that. Then I had the 2 holds, or 1 from Washington County, then I was going to go back. So, like, I'm in jail thinking I'm not going to see my kids or anything for at least a year. Maybe not, I mean, maybe more. And I mean, I get upset. Like, I get emotional. I mean, I'm somewhat sober because I've been in jail 2 weeks at the time and coming off everything. And I just, like, emotions hit me. I was like, man, it's going to be like a year or 2 before I see my kids. And that sucks. And I get upset. And I go to, like I said, they give me 3 months. And so I'm sitting in Carter County Jail, like I said, not knowing when I'm getting out. And somebody comes in. It's Melody from Families Free. I've known her for years. I don't know if you can use names or whatever. I've known her for a long time. She comes in and she talks to me. Like, I didn't ask her to come. I didn't say sign up for Families Free. Like, she was in there for somebody else and saw me, knew I was in there, but she was in there for somebody else, and called me down to talk to me. And she asked me, she said, I saw you got in trouble again. Have you ever thought about treatment? And no. Like, I mean, of course I've heard rehab, but I didn't need rehab because I was just on pills. That's for the hard drug addicts, not me. And I'm not an alcoholic, so I don't need to go to rehab. And then I got to talking to her a little bit, and I was like, man, the last 15 years of pain pills and Subutex and Xanax, like, progressing from snorting a pill every couple days to shooting them up 4 or 5 times a day, like, something's not right. And now I'm out, like, I just lost my job. I'm sitting in jail for God knows how long. Like, maybe I do need to try something else. And so we talked about things, and she offered me help through going to Magridge. And I said yes. And she came back like 2 or 3 more times to talk to me. When I got released and went to Washington County, she was there at Washington County you know, with my bed date and stuff. And it was just like, looking back on it, you know, I'd say that I had all this feeling like nobody cared, nobody loves me, nobody wants to help me, like nobody cares about poor Dustin, you know. And I mean, you have that mindset, especially in jail, man, because you're sitting in jail and like you feel like you're at the bottom of the barrel, especially knowing when you're not getting out for, you don't know. And then one person comes in and says, "Hey, let me help you." And like that's something that I can never, I guess, repay or like show enough gratitude for what she's done. Which, I mean, yeah, she just came in, like she didn't have to. She could have just chalked it and been like, "Man, he's doing this for 15 years. Let him do it." And she didn't. And so I go to Mag, and in between, like I go to Washington County, and they released me that day to go to rehab, and I have 5 days between jail and rehab. And in my head, I'm like, man, I've been in jail a little bit. Like I only did Suboxone once in jail. Like, you know, you have a few days on the street, like not messing with anything. You start telling yourself, like, man, do I really need to go to rehab? I think I'm all right. And so like my 3rd or 4th day, I found $150 in my pants pocket. It was December 18th, something like that. I had to be in Mag December 20th and give the kid's mom 100 of it to go get kids Christmas, whatever. Save 50, knowing good and well what I'm about to do. And I done went through the house that day and like cleaned my house because I knew I was going to rehab for a month. I had my own apartment. Put my needles in a bag and like put them in a trash can outside in the dumpster. Like getting rid of like my old needles from months ago before I went to jail. Put all that shit in the dumpster. 2 o'clock in the morning. I text everybody when I found out $50. Wanting one last, you know, telling myself, well, if I'm going to rehab, I'm going out on my term, you know. I'm getting high one good time before I go.
Yeah.
And I text everybody. Nobody answered. Nobody talked to me. Like, and maybe, like I even told myself, well, maybe this is God telling me we don't need to get high. It was 1:30 in the morning, December 18th, 19th, whatever. 30 degrees outside, somebody texts, says, "Hey, I got something. I got a Subutex. I got a pair of shorts and a shirt and a jacket." And I put that on, and it's 2 miles away, no car, walk 2 miles in the middle of December to go get a Subutex for rehab. Come back, and I'm like, man, I don't have nothing to shoot up with. I threw it all in the dumpster, in my bag in the dumpster. Get a little blue flashlight, 2 in the morning, dumpster dive for a needle that's 5 months old that sat in my apartment. Just so I can get that last rush of a high before I go to rehab, because if I can, I'm getting high before I go. And the next day, you know, I do that for like the last day and a half I'm before rehab. That's what I do. Just sit in there and shoot up Subutex for a day and a half. Snort Xanax. Or no, I didn't take any Xanax, but shoot up. And then Melody comes and picks me up that morning, takes me to rehab. And I get to Mag Ridge. I don't even care. Like in Mag, I have the mindset of when I get out, I'm going back to my apartment. I don't need to go anywhere else. She's been trying to talk to me about going to sober living. I don't want to go to sober living. I'm going home. I'm going home. And even like, I'm in there and in my head, I'm telling myself, man, it's just 28 days, treating it like jail. It's 28 days and I'm going to stay 28 days. They're going to give me a paper. I'm going to get out and everybody's going to celebrate me because I have this paper saying I completed rehab. And first week or two in there, like, don't even care. I'm just here going through the motions, filling out your stupid little paper, your goal sheets. Here, I'm done. And they started doing this big book study. They do it every couple of times a week in there in Mag Ridge. Jason does these big book study, and it was awful. I hated every bit of it the first couple of weeks. Like, it's so boring. To me, we might as well have been 12 years old reading out of the science book in 7th grade. Like, it was awful. Hated it. Because I didn't care. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be there, but I was so worried about how everybody thought of me, and I want you to like me. So I want my mom and my brothers and whoever's happy for me to be in rehab, I want y'all to be happy I'm here. And I want y'all to like give me praise when I show you this, that I finished 28 days. But I don't care what you're saying, the people in there. And like I said, 10, 11, 12 days, that's what I did. And he come in one night and he started talking, and it was the jaywalking story in the big book. And about the guy that's running, darting in traffic, swears up and down he's never going to do it and gets hit. Never going to do it again, gets hurt worse. And I'm like, man, and I'll start looking at my scars from, you know, I got a scar on my arm from shooting up, going to the hospital, swearing up and down, man, I can't believe I'm in this hospital for 4, 5, 6 days, surgery to get infection out. First chance I get, the nurse leaves, I'm in the bathroom shooting up. Like, to me, like, that resonated. Like, this guy's darting in traffic, swearing he's never going to do it again. I'm in the hospital for shooting up, swearing I'm never going to do it again. And I go out and do the same thing. I don't even wait till I get out. I wait till she leaves and then go do it. And I just kind of like, I was like, man, I do that.
You saw it yourself.
Yeah. And it's like, man, this book's 100 years old about alcoholics. And I do that. And then, it just took that one little like, well, maybe you know, and I was like, well, I do that. And then I started like listening to more groups, paying a little more attention, and I was like, damn, I do every bit of that, or I do this in my own way, I do this. And then like taking advantage of therapy, like the therapy they give you in there. I was the biggest advocate against therapy. Like, I'm not going in there and telling some stranger my bullshit. Like, I'm not going to tell you anything about me. You can't help me. And I started doing it, and I was like, man, that kind of felt good, you know? And then I started doing it on the next week. Then the third week, I was like happy to go in there and talk to my therapist. And like I said, just participating more in groups and talking to other people in there who, yeah, they were all the meth heads that I wasn't. Not all of them, but you know, a lot of them was on meth and heroin, fentanyl, everything that I tried to justify and be like, well, I ain't like y'all, I just take pain pills. Well, my ass was in the seat right next to him, still in addiction. And I was like, man, I don't want to go back to where I was. And they started, they start hollering sober living as soon as you get in there. And Melody had already talked to me about it. And it's crazy how it worked, like how it just played out so fast. Because I'm sitting in there and I feel out. I've been there like 3 weeks, I guess, and I hadn't heard anything from like Craig Tabitha. Saw the video a few times that they show us in there. Hadn't heard, like they hadn't come in or anything. And I filled a paper out on a Tuesday for Recovery Resources. And I was like, well, maybe I would try sober living. Like, what's the worst, you know? And on a Tuesday, I fill it out. And Thursday morning, like 9 o'clock, first group, Tabitha's in there. And says, oh, I'm going to interview you after the group. And I was like, oh, like within 48 hours of me filling that paper out. And you know, sometimes you're in there, you sit on them papers for weeks waiting on them to come in there. It was within 48 hours. And she came in and talked and was like, we're going to put you somewhere, blah, blah. And I don't know. I get, finished the 28 days. And Tabitha picks me up and brings me to the house and shows me around and stuff. And I'd already got the sponsor, and I had to go to the meetings, which I didn't care about me. I'd been to like 2 meetings my entire life before I came here. Didn't care about the meetings, like they were stupid. I don't want to go listen to a bunch of sad drug addicts tell me about their sad shit, because I'm not one of y'all, and I don't need to hear it. It's going to make me want to get high, listen to y'all's sad shit. And how are you going to get anything from those with that mindset? Like, how are you going to get anything from a meeting if you go in not wanting to listen to anybody? You can't offer me anything because I'm not like you. And then I got here, like I said, the rehab is what kind of changed my mindset a little bit. And then I came here and started, meeting with my sponsor and doing the step work. And I started working, like within a week of getting out of rehab, I started working with 180, laying some sod, by God, sod, and started laying sod, and I worked it for, it was just kind of, you get into the routine of meetings and house meetings and talking to people at the house and meeting with your sponsor, and you just kind of get in a routine, and it just kind of, then before you know it, you're a couple weeks sober, and then you're a couple months sober. You just keep going, and then 6 months sober, 7 months sober. It's just like, man. And then not just that, but like the crazy thing of like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and people that I didn't think wanted to be around me, like they reach out to you, and they're like, hey, what's up? Or, my mom and my brothers, like I've got to make amends with my mom and one of my brothers and my son and the kids that like I neglected for so long and didn't really care if I was around them or not. Like I get to see them. Like I don't know. I'm kind of want to go all over the place.
No, for sure. Like you have a part in life today.
Yeah. And like I have a great job, and like one of the best things about this is, well, for me, is the people in my life, like the unity and the brotherhood and whatever. Like you hear all that stuff, but like it's really important when you don't have anybody, you feel like you don't have anybody. And I heard something with my therapist and Mag, like I used to tell her about my mom and my brothers not wanting to be around me, and nobody cares about me, and she was like, Dustin, you don't have the right to make the people that love you the most watch you kill yourself. And like that, just like ever since she said that, man, that stuck with me, and like I guess like changed my mindset, because it was like, man, I couldn't imagine watching my brother, knowing he's getting high or drinking, whatever. Like that'd be hard to see, and eventually I'm gonna have to be like, man, I can't mess with you right now, not because I don't love you, but like it's hard to watch because I do love you. And I don't know, it just made me feel like that still sticks with me every day.
Something clicked.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about your life today?
I mean, of course, like the rebuilt relationships with my kids and my mom and my brothers and stuff. But like my absolute favorite is like the amount of people that seem to genuinely like when they see me. And it's not like, now it's like, oh, there's Dustin, not like, hide your shit, there's Dustin, hide your purse or your wallet or anything valuable. It's like people actually want to talk to me and want me around and like ask me to come do things with them. And when you feel so alone for so long, whether it was warranted or not, I felt alone. And when you feel so alone for so long, like it's cool that people want me around now, but it also kind of like, I don't know, makes me think like, man, this ain't me. Like, you know what I mean?
There's something here. They see something in me that I don't necessarily see. So.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. It's like I don't know, they want me around. Why? Like,
yeah. Some of my actions, the way I carry myself, makes them want to be around me, and I'm watching their reaction to who I am. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And I love that. And like I love that the fact that like other than of course like kids and family, like the majority of the people that I'm extremely close with right now and love and want to be around and all that, when I came in here and when I went to MAG in December, I didn't even know these people existed. Like I didn't know they were even people on this planet, and now they're some of the most important people in my life.
I don't know what else to call that but love, right?
Yeah, I mean it's great, and like the love that you get from the people around you here, the community, and I know it's here in Recovery Resource, but it's like in general in a recovery community. Like I've met so many great people, like between Recovery Resources and then when I was at Families Free and people that I work with and through like just everything. Most of the people I've met, man, they're awesome, genuine people who care about you, because I mean, all it takes is somebody to have one bad day and be like, man, I don't know why I'm even doing this, and go out here and get high and they're dead. So, like, I think that's part of the reason why it's so, like, close-knit and, like, everybody cares so deeply, because, I mean, it's legitimately like a life and death. Like, we want you here, because if you go out, you could be dead tomorrow. And it happens every day. And it's just a great feeling to have people that love like that, and they don't want nothing from you. They don't want anything, just to help you, and so you can help other people.
Just want you around.
Yeah, just want you around. Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad you're around.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You're around.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no, I ramble sometimes. So.
No, I think we did great.
Yeah, thank you.